Alright, Mr. SimpleBiz guy, let's start the show.
Hello, and thank you for tuning in to this episode of the SimpleBiz360 podcast. My name is Jeff Mason, and I'm your host for this episode. And we can be found on YouTube, IGTV, Rumble, and also 28 audio platforms, all your favorites, Spotify, Apple, Pandora, you name it. We're on it. So you can check us out there. And the graphic you see behind me is called 3 Business Tips in 5 Minutes. Now, we're not doing the 3 Business Tips in 5 Minutes show today, but we do have about 90 or more episodes of these. And on YouTube, we've got it put together in a playlist. So if you ever just kind of want to, even just listen to it in the background, you can just let it play. And gosh, and you hear, 5, 6 episodes, it's a half hour, and you've gotten some good, meaty tips that we've gotten from other third-party influencers, and we've repackaged them and re-delivered them to you. And some of the stuff is stuff we bumped into on our own. But it's 30 years of hard work, and we've kind of bottled it up in this cool series that is really short-winded and very impactful. So today we are going to spend some time on a program I title "Making the Most Out of Opportunities," and this stems back to an Easter Sunday, and I was part of this, watching this, and I just, when it was all said and done, I said, wow, there's 3 fantastic, kind of tips or lessons or things to pass on here that I observed. And if you've ever been with the show for any length of time or watched old episodes, we encourage thinking for sure, stop, get away from things, turn technology off and think. And we also say observe. You can pick up so much just observing restaurant experiences and store experiences and things around you, that you can take some of the lessons from these things and plug them into your business or plug them into your career, and they can be very beneficial improvements that you make to your business or how you operate as a professional. So today, this was really cool. The setting is Easter Sunday, so I watched this unfold, and it was a gathering, picnic, barbecue, and there's this family that wants a picture of them on Easter Sunday. So they approach a relative. So they approach this relative, and the relative agrees to take the picture on the family's iPhone. So they start out with the horizontal pictures. And the horizontal pictures get done and, clicked away, and everybody checks them. They look good. So, okay, can we do vertical pictures now? Sure. The relative says, sure, let's do, vertical pictures. So everybody gets set and they start the vertical picture. It's kind of hot. The sun's kind of baking, the family, and it's hitting the family head on. So, it's a little hot. But at any rate, so this relative's clicking off the pictures, and all done, and the family comes and reviews the pictures on the phone, and the top is cut off and the bottom is cut off. So the pictures, they didn't come out. So this relative says, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry." This person's begging the family for an opportunity to retake the pictures, want some redemption. Hey, I can do this differently. I can do this better. Give me another opportunity. And, after all this begging and pleading, this family says, no, that's okay. And they're, a little unhappy for sure. And they go away, and, they don't get their vertical pictures. And, this relative feels kind of lousy for taking the pictures that way, right? So at any rate, that's the end of the story. So it just so happens that the family that was getting the picture taken of, the family that was posing for the pictures, the gentleman in the family was a DJ. And so the next day I'm listening to his radio show, and here's what he says on his radio show. So I was at this picnic yesterday, and I tried to get a family picture taken with our camera. So I asked a relative, and all of a sudden, this relative forgot how to take pictures. And so the segment ends, and, you as the listener get this feeling that this relative's a buffoon that, couldn't take a picture, right? When the reality was a little different than that, because I was there, I watched this all happen. So here's the 3 takeaways I got from this. And the first is, and this is a huge problem with a lot of us and how we do life, and it's certainly a big problem in media, big problem in politicians. You have to tell the whole story. The whole story was the horizontal pictures were taken and they were good. So there were good pictures out of that. Yeah, the vertical pictures were really bad, apparently. And you know what? They begged and asked for an opportunity to retake the pictures and were denied. So, you got to tell the whole story when you're sharing this. And the whole story matters in the scheme of things. So if you're selling something, you're trying to project truth to customers, you're sharing truth, if you're using that whole evidence defeats disbelief mindset we've talked about over and over again, you've got to bake the whole story into whatever you're trying to project because it matters, right? So the second thing I thought that was interesting is the DJ chose to look for the bad and not the good. And, I don't know if that's the DJ's intention, but, in our life, when we're working with coworkers, when we are working and blending and with associates and we're partnering with team members and teammates, doesn't it pay us to be looking for the good? Doesn't the payoff better than always trying to look for the bad? Let's try to encourage people through our speak and say, you know what, hey, that was a great job. Is there any way you could fix this one last component, but everything else is just great. I love it. Can't we be encouragers of that good, especially with our children? We can get in the habit. I know I'm a parent, and we can get in the habit of always looking at the bad things and harping on the bad things when, the kids need to hear about the good things. Well, associates need that too. We need to look at the good in how we do business and how we project our companies, how we project our products and services as well. So, I always say look for the good and try to project that instead of trying to project the bad. In this case, in my opinion, the DJ tried to highlight the bad. Third thing was consider the power of this positive message. Consider the power of making sure that the message, you put a bow on it the right way. And especially if you do what we do on podcasts and on this gentleman on radio. But imagine if this DJ and his family had granted redemption to the photographer. Now, if they had granted redemption on Easter Sunday, the photographer would have taken the vertical pictures and the vertical pictures would have come out. And the story on the radio the next day could have been, hey, you know what? The guy, took some really bad vertical pictures, but you know what? We exercised forgiveness. We exercised, hey, let's give him a little grace. Let this person take the pictures over. And, in the process, give this person a second chance to redeem themselves. And what's funny is Easter is all about that. It is a story about Jesus and about redemption, right? That's God's way that he's given us redemption. So this story could have really had a cool outcome if it was told properly, I think. And that's just my opinion. And so, again, we have to think about these things when we're in the spotlight, when we're talking about things, when we're helping people find improvement opportunities and improve themselves, improve their companies, or improve, certainly the customer experience. And that's really where I want to park this is, let's take these three things away and think about, how could we improve the customer experience by telling the whole story? You run a restaurant, you've got a menu and you don't put the ingredients on there and there's peanut oil in some of the ingredients and you fail to tell the customers that and you've got some medical problems. You've got maybe some litigation you're facing because you didn't spell out the whole story. And the whole story was, hey, if you're allergic to peanut oil, we do use it on these products here. Stay away from it. So, there's things like that, right? We could bake in there. Look for the good, not bad. We all work with teammates and associates. Why don't we try to find, you can praise and reprimand too, just like Ken Blanchard always taught us, the 1 minute manager. But there's ways to blend it together and to always look for the good and not the bad and be encouraging. And, work will be so much better, right? And the other thing is just, consider consider how your companies could operate. Consider the customer experience you could be generating for your invoice paying customers if you and your teammates all worked on looking for the good and wrapping together a positive message rather than a negative message when you're working together. So, you'd have harmony instead of disharmony in many cases. So anyway, I've been in corporate America. I know how it works. It's hard to do, but you know what? Comes from the top down. It can be done. So anyway, we encourage you not to miss opportunities to forgive and give people second chances, whether they're your associates, whether, you've got customers you don't like and you just don't want to do business with them. Well, you know what? Just suck it up. Give them a second chance. Go around to round number 2. Try it again. Maybe the outcome will be different. Maybe it was just a bad day. Maybe things that happen out of your control, out of their control. Who knows? But you know what? Don't give up on it. And certainly don't give up on your kids. Give your kids second chances. Give them the opportunity to redeem themselves too. So the song today we want to leave you with is a 38 Special, right, from 1988, and it really kind of a really nice tune, Second Chance, and it's all about this whole idea of redemption and second chances. So we hope we enjoyed the show, and again, 38 Special, 1988, Second Chance. We will see you in 168 hours.